it is said that there are 8.4 million asanas. People start searching for a textbook where they can get all of them. The concept behind 8.4 million asanas is a concept of the evolution of species. And the Garuda Samhita, the Shiva Samhita, that give us these numbers actually mean that asana is a state of being, a state where we are on the evolutionary ladder. Often, Swamiji, Geetananda Giri, Guru Maharaj used to ask his students, what is your asana? It is not, my asana is the headstand because I am the best. Or my asana is Shavasana because I like to sleep. Your asana is your state of being. That place where you are established steadily in a state of well-being, comfort. Your comfort zone is your asana. Now, when we start to explore this 8.4 million asanas, we find that each of the living beings, be it a frog, be it a snake, be it one of the mammals or us human beings, we all have asanas named after us. We have asanas that not only make us human like the Vajrasana, but develop humane qualities of heroism, strength, the Virasana, giving us that courage to fight the good battle, giving us higher intellect through the meditative postures, Siddhasana, Bhadrasana, enabling us to contemplate, introspect, and look into ourselves for the answers to the questions that we are searching for. There are asanas to stimulate our divine impulses, the higher impulses of the rishis who are looking for that higher state of divinity, and then that state of divinity itself. All the rishi postures such as Vashishthasana, Vishwamitrasana, all of these enable us to attain higher states of being. And finally going into divine states, Hanumanasana, Ananda Tandava Asana, the dance of Lord Shiva, the cosmic dance of transformation itself. When we look at asanas, we find that the classical Hatha Yoga scriptures, the Hatha Pradipika, the Garuda Samhita, they all mention not too many. In fact, the Garuda Samhita only mentions 32. In the Hatha Ratnavali and others, you find the numbers of 84, which is where people got stuck up on 84 classical yoga asanas. We can look at the asanas in different ways. That the asanas are meant to culture us in a positive evolutionary manner, enabling us to grow from a subhuman to the human, humane, and divine states of being. They can be used for contemplation. The Siddhasana, Padmasana, Vajrasana. These are contemplative postures. And in fact, when you look at the top 4 yoga postures in our scriptures, Siddhasana, Bhadrasana, Simhasana and Padmasana, they are all sitting postures. They are not the complicated contortionist twists, leg over the neck with another leg pushed into some other corner of the body. It's none of that. Because the highest state of being is where we are at ease, at peace with ourselves. And that is why these 4 were the most important. And then the most important of even these 4 was said to be the Siddhasana. Siddhasana, that state where you have attained the highest Siddhi. And Siddhis are not just psychic powers, miracles, walking on the water, floating in air. It is when you have become the master of your own self. That is the highest Siddhi, when you know yourself. And that is why Siddhasana is the highest. Asanas may be classified based on whether they are forward bending, backward bending, twisting, stretching, balancing on your hand or not. They can be classified based on where you start to do them from, which is the starting position. So supine asanas. So, asanas like Ardha Halasana, Halasana, all of these come from the lying down, supine. You may have the prone postures like Bhujangasana, Shalabhasana. You may have the postures done from the sitting, all the sitting postures, or from the standing. But then the asanas can also be used to help us in our recovery by compensating, by stimulating the rehabilitative healing potentials, and by supplementing our life. So they could be for compensation, they could be for supplementation, and they could be for regeneration also. So much is there in the science of yoga, so much more to be understood by us, modern human beings, who tend to look at everything through this narrow focus. When we start to look at the bigger picture, when we realize that asanas are a means to help us move from the body to something higher, that they have somato-psychic effects. Putting your body in a certain posture influences your mind, and by influencing your mind, you can again influence your body. You are creating your own destiny by the posture in which you place yourself. Your asana determines your destiny. Where you are and how you are there, well, that influences who you are and what you are going to do. Let's choose our asana wisely. Let us learn to be at ease with ourselves. That is the way forward. That is the path of asana.